Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 10th regular meeting of Walpole Select Board. It is now 7 o'clock, the posted time of our meeting, so I call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first order of business tonight is with Renee Tosi, our Recreation Director. Vote to request to hold the annual Falloween parade and events on October 26th. So Renee, would you like to come up and talk to us a little bit about the events you got planned?
Sure.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you bet.
So the parade and Falloween are pretty similar to the years past, from what I've been told. I do have a couple of notes here. The Falloween event is immediately following the parade and Halloween on Main. They will start at Blackburn, parade up to the Common, and then from there they'll trick or treat. And that begins at 10 o'clock, so that's from like 10 to 11. And then Falloween will be out on the field at 11 o'clock. This year it is doubling in size thanks to the 300th committee. There'll be twice the amount of inflatables from Funtown. I think there's about 10 to 12. There's going to be 6 to 8 food trucks. And the 300th committee is adding in a carousel, a petting zoo or like a little petting farm area, and some roaming dinosaurs. So that'll be super fun just to add a little extra. And they're been super generous, and they're going to be paying for the wristbands that we normally sell. So therefore, the whole event will be free.
Terrific.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great.
So I'm excited to be part of it for the first year.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming tonight and
Thank you.
bringing us up to speed on that. And by the way, you've been doing a great job. I know
Thank
it's
you.
early days for you, and it's been tough to jump in the middle of the summer, but it's
Been a lot of fun.
certainly a good start.
The pool gave me a little bit of a hassle here and there, but I think we got it under control.
always does.
You're not the first one. so.
Yes, exactly. Next year will be better, I promise.
Questions for Renee? Okay, could I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to approve the request of Director Tachi to hold the annual Falloween parade and event on October 26, 2024, beginning at 10 a.m. on Stone Field.
Perfect, thank you.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. 5-0. Renee, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Okay. All right, next up, Police Chief. Chief Kelleher for the quarterly report. Good evening, Chief. How are you tonight?
Good evening. Outstanding. How are you? Thank you for having us here tonight.
Okay.
We'll run through the most notable incidents from the last quarter. Starting off on June 21st, we had a theft at Busy Dog and Basement Technologies down on Renmar Road. An employee was terminated and subsequently came back and stole a lot of money from the manager, including a large amount of cash and some credit cards. The cards were later used at various locations throughout the state, and after investigation by our officers, they interviewed the suspect. Confession was obtained, and the charges were filed in that case. We had a drug violation on June 25th on Route 1 outside Allegiance Trucks. A resident from Quincy was discovered to be passed out behind the wheel of a motor vehicle on Route 1. After being awakened by officers, they located powdered cocaine, crack cocaine, and fentanyl inside the vehicle. He was transported by the fire department for treatment for the effects of the use of those narcotics, and was later charged with subsequent offenses of both Class A and B drugs. Significant credit card theft from Walmart on July 1st. Greenwich, Connecticut PD had called us to inform us that 2 individuals from the New York and Pennsylvania, respectively, were arrested earlier in the month, later in June, I apologize, for credit card theft in their jurisdiction. The investigation revealed the same 2 suspects fraudulently used a credit card appear in Walmart and stole nearly $5,000 from the victim over 5 separate transactions. Detectives did an investigation into that, reviewed video, determined the same suspects were involved here in Walpole, and charges were filed for those 2 individuals. There was a check that was actually drawn on a town of Walpole account that was stolen after it had left town hall at a United States Postal Service sorting facility. Initially, it was thought that it was deposited into a Webster Bank via mobile app. However, further investigation revealed that it was deposited into an ATM out in California. At this point, they're still investigating that matter, getting search warrants to obtain the video from the ATM in California to determine who, if anybody locally, might be involved in that. So that is kind of ongoing, but it did affect the town, so I wanted to mention that. In terms of stats, we had 3,951 calls of service, 17 arrests in this quarter. That is down a little bit from 4,000 last quarter with 24 arrests. and down a little bit from the previous year, where we had 4,200 calls for service and 16 arrests. We did have the one overdose that I just mentioned a second ago that was non-fatal, and I'm happy to report that we haven't had any fatalities or any additional overdoses this quarter or this year. So we have 5 total overdoses with no fatalities, and that is down from 9 last year with 3 fatalities, unfortunately. Home for Little Wanderers, Longview Farm. If you looked at the packet that I had sent you, I had made a mistake on the data. Somehow, some way, I put in year-to-date stats in this quarter's numbers. So the calls this quarter were around 38. I'm sorry, with a total of 143 for this year. I had put that number in wrong, so it threw that number way off. So we are actually right on par, not a little bit lower than we were this time last year at Longview. So things are status quo there. We're managing the same sort of things, but I didn't want you to think that those numbers were way out of whack when I punched them in. In terms of training, our civil rights officer went to a training for civil rights, more stuff with their role. It was a symposium that was put on by the state to better highlight what they do and to be better able to help them with the reporting that the state requires. In terms of investigative courses, we went to a dark web course, criminal behavior identification, which is used at large events like the marathon or events that we may have here. Like the parades and stuff our detectives do, behavioral detection, sexual assault-related investigations, juvenile law, and more in cryptocurrency, which is becoming more prevalent these days. We also had instructor certifications in firearms, defensive tactics, and patrol procedures. All of this is all with the ever-changing requirements from the MPTC, so we're making sure that our officers are all up to stuff with the requirements put forth by the state. In terms of community policing, we had a significant amount this quarter. Most notably was the fundraiser that was put on by the Plant Factory, which is a local group of kids that sell plants and vegetables and donate them to local causes. They picked the fire department last year, and this year they decided to donate to us. So they were gracious enough to present us with a check of over $1,000 for our community policing efforts, and we got to meet them when they came into the station to drop the check off. They're a great bunch of kids, and we certainly do appreciate their thoughtfulness in that initiative. We had a Special Olympics torch run in cruiser convoy. Officer Holmes, Officer Turpin, and Dispatcher Fitzpatrick participated in that. They do that every single year. Officer Holmes is very much involved in the Special Olympics, has been before he came here. That started at BC and ended at Harvard. And we were actually fortunate enough to be part of the medal presentation for that event, where our officers presented the participants their medals when they completed their various events. So that was a nice event as well. We attended all the school's field days at the end of school last year, which seems to be an eternity ago, but the summer blew right along. So. And we also did 2 junior police academy classes that we normally do, which were very well attended and very well, it all went very well. We went to the League School Summer Fun Day. We brought a cruiser down to that event for the kids to climb through. We do this an annual event that we do every single year. Very popular. They request us to come back every year, so our officers got to participate in that. We were on the Common for the Zip Trip. That was also a huge success at the end of the summer, followed up by our 3rd annual Cones with Cops event at Scoops. Very well attended. We actually had a whole bunch of kids there before school started, so that was a great event as well. We're working on the 300th parade event plan now. That will be a significant undertaking, but we will be well staffed for that and make sure we're there to assist with traffic and also participate in whatever events whatever we're needed for that. And finally, school traffic. We've been at all the schools the first 3 days of school to assist with the traffic, especially at the middle school, which has had a new traffic pattern, but that's gone very smoothly. While I mentioned that the middle school, Officer Hart worked very hard on that project, as well with our counterparts at the fire department, Deputy Hover, with collaborating our systems with the fire alarm system, the critical incident protocols, the cameras, all that stuff. We worked very hard on the past several months, culminating in their opening of that school this year, and I'm pleased with where we're at with that. I think the school's in a good place safety-wise, and everything seems to be going very smoothly down there. I really can't thank the school department anymore for their help on that too, their collaboration, their willingness to work with us on various things that are related to security. So we're very fortunate that we had them as well, and I think the schools are going to be a very safe place. So going forward, we'll work on conducting our critical incident drills at all the schools, especially that one, given it's a whole new change for a lot of new kids. But I think we're in a good spot there, and we are continuing to focus on the traffic there as well, being present to help them as they go through. And finally, I'm very pleased to announce that we had our accreditation assessment through the Mass Police Accreditation Commission on August 21st and 22nd. That went incredibly smoothly. And even though they can't promise us anything, they're very clear about that the commission votes as a whole. We did not have anything that we needed to fix and nothing that we needed to change going forward. And that should be voted on very soon with a presentation in January for full accreditation for the department. This is something we've worked on for a very long time. There's 121 other departments out of all this departments statewide that are accredited, and we will soon be one of them. So it's an incredible achievement. And with us here today is Lieutenant Joe Zangetti. Joe's our accreditation manager. I can't say enough about how hard he worked on this. His knowledge of this whole process, his attention to detail with evidence and procedures and policy, building the station to fit these needs. He's been working on this forever. And I want to thank Joe publicly for his efforts on this. It's easy for me to sit here and tell you all about the great things that happen with this process, but the people behind me are the ones that make it all happen, especially Joe. So thank you to Joe for all your hard work, and we're very pleased to have this accomplishment under our belt. So with that, I will take any questions that you may have.
So on that last point, this accreditation process is highly rigorous, and I know you guys put a lot of work into it. It's really great to hear that it went as well as it did, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for January to see if we can get to that level. It's a major milestone and something that you and your command staff should be very, very proud of, Chief.
Thank you.
And Lieutenant Zangetti, thank you for all the good work you did on this, bringing it home. So it's a job well done. I don't have any other questions on the rest of your report other than to say great job as always.
Thank you. I appreciate
Let
that.
me open it up to the board for other comments or questions.
I was just going to say congratulations on the accreditation. I know it took a number of years.
Yes, it's been a long time coming.
Very
but
exciting for
yeah.
for the department.
Thank you.
Anyone else? No. Good, okay. Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you very much.
Thanks, Chief. All right, next on our agenda is the Fire Chief quarterly report. So Chief Barry, welcome.
Just say ditto to a lot of stuff that he just said. I was told to hurry up. Good evening. Thank you for having us before you. Last time we were here was June 11th. To date, we've had 5,064 calls for service, of which 3,154 are emergency responses and 1,910 are inspections. We've had a couple significant incidents, minor incidents. 2 fires in town. One was at Stone Street, and it was Group 1 was on duty for that, and they made a quick attack of the fire. When I showed up on scene, it didn't look good, and they did a great job mitigating that as quick as they did. The second one was on Main Street in July. Again, Group 1 was on duty. Both were towards the end of their shifts after long tours before that. Both of those ended up going to essentially a working fire assignment, and brought in some extra help from Norwood and Westwood for those. Great job by everybody. It's a large pile of recycled material that took a while for us to extinguish and get down to, but good coordination with the business owner and with our department. They did a great job. Mutual aid, we continue to respond to working fires throughout Norwood and Westwood 2 times both. So good collaborative effort between all agencies. We did have a couple unique incidents. One we notified the board about was an MS. We worked with the Mass State Police, and we had a detonation of some devices up on a Sunday afternoon. And some devices were found at a home and did what they were supposed to do, and as we asked them to do, leave them where they found them, and we'll notify in cooperation, in conjunction with the police department, notify the bomb squad from the marshal's office, and they'll come up and help mitigate that situation. And it was done with no injuries and no damage to any property. The second one was a significant incident that we had an off-road accident that involved Group 1 again, and they did a fantastic job recognizing the injury the individual had, and immediately requesting assistance from MedFlight, and a new program that is new to our area, to our state, is a blood transfusion, a rapid blood transfusion in the field, and that's housed out of Canton Fire Department. They quickly realized the need that patient was going to need it, and requested that response, and the Canton firefighters met us on scene at the landing zone out back, and by all accounts, a great job by the on-duty crew extricating the individual, a lengthy extrication from the field, and a great work. Very, very pleased, and commend their efforts for that evening. Personnel update: we still have 2 members out IOD. We had one resignation this past quarter. The two new hires, our two most recent hires start the academy next week. We're excited to get those people in that process, and their anticipated graduation date is December 2nd, and look forward to getting them back as soon as possible. On a off-duty personal note, firefighter Mulford completed his active duty officer candidate military training and is now a commissioned second lieutenant in the Army Reserve. Congratulations to him. Great job. That's a huge accomplishment, and very proud of him. Well done. The budget, we're doing okay as we just came into it. Our grants that we've applied for, we're still patiently, I'm no longer holding my breath from the FEMA, but we're still patiently waiting. They're all still open. There's 3 different grants that we've applied for from 3 different funding sources through FEMA, and still waiting, but not too optimistic. Ambulance runs, we're up from this quarter over last quarter. We're up almost $80,000 in revenue, and almost and 43 calls, billable calls that we had from last quarter to this year. So again, the firefighters and the fire officers are doing a great job. We just continue to be busier and busier, and they're handling those situations. Often we'll have back to even back calls. It's just a huge strain in our system, and it's across the board. It's not just us, and everybody is just trying to fly around to accommodate one another, to help one another. Again, our firefighters, your firefighters are doing a great job mitigating those situations and going from town to town. You'll often see apparatus crisscrossing one another in conjunction with the police department. So it's we're getting busier, and we still have been, so appreciate that. Fire prevention, as mentioned earlier, Deputy Hoover, again, repetitive, is extremely busy, but he did a great job almost from start to almost close out on the new middle school. Great job. That was a very tiring and exhausting and tedious project for him to work through. Commend him for that. It was a lot of work, a lot of hours, working with everybody at the school department, the police department, and the contractors. Great job, as well as working with the building department, who was a huge support for us throughout that project. Training, our members continue to take advantage of the courses offered at the Academy through the Fire Prevention Association of Massachusetts and various other sources, off-duty and on-duty. On-duty training continues as the call volume permits. As we mentioned, a lot of time it gets interrupted, and the crews will have to come back and start back up over, but they do a good job. They're hungry, they're aggressive, and that's great to see. With that, I'll close my quarterly. If there's any questions, I'll gladly answer.
I would just say, great update, as always. Thank you for all the great work that you and the team do. Have there been any complications from the Norfolk, former Norfolk prison site that have impacted us at all? I haven't heard any, but.
No complications. They're staffing, I believe it's 8 to 12 with a private ambulance company. And we've had to respond minimally up there, but we're in communication with the Norfolk Fire Department, and they're great to work with us on that. They kept us updated and abreast of the situation, so we haven't been dealing too much with response up there.
Good, okay, that's good to hear.
Is that 8 a.m. to midnight, 8 to 12?
No.
8 a.m. to...
Yeah, just a 4-hour detail that they have a private company up there, so.
And that was one of our concerns when we originally got briefed on that it was only 4 hours, and it's only 5 days a week too, right?
Correct, I believe so.
Yeah, but that apparently hasn't been a problem, so.
Norfolk did a time study, and they deemed those to be their busiest hours, so that's why they requested the additional staffing during those hours to help complement their staffing.
Okay.
On a side note related to MCI, we've been somewhat handed the keys to Cedar Junction. Their alarm system, which was monitored internally by their own personnel, the fire alarm system has now been handed over to us. So we're responding up to that a little more frequently, just a couple of times within the past few weeks, which was a lot more than we had been in a long time. So something for us to keep an eye upon as well. So, well, they say it's vacated. We're still dealing with it as a community, as an agency. So, and it's a time to get us into there. So we have to do a recall for off-duty personnel to staff the town as we're sending the on-duty shift up there, because it's a lengthy time for us to get from outside of that facility back to where we need to do on the other side of town. So again, something for us to keep in the back of our mind.
And I would ask you to track those too, because what I'd like to do is in our periodic updates with the legislative delegation and the other folks that we're dealing with at the State House on this topic, I'd like to be able to tell them, what the impacts are. So if you could track that, that'd be awesome.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the chief on the quarterly report?
I would just ask, is Brockton Hospital's ER kind of back to normal, or?
Brockton Hospital's back open now.
I heard they're open.
Yeah,
Is it
open now.
working, or is it still in sort of ramp-up mode?
I don't believe we transported anybody there, so I'm not exactly sure.
Okay.
What the,
I was just curious, so
yeah,
it should help
it should help.
eventually,
It should help.
but
I'm not even gonna mention the other place to the north, but,
the other place has their own
we're
problems, so.
patient with, so, awesome. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
The only other thing is that that's an interesting update about Cedar Junction. Having toured that facility, I could see where that would be a little bit of a strain to have that, that now we're taking care of that.
Oh, yeah, it's, like I said, it's a large complex with, it takes us a while to get into it, and then to find the seat of the alarm activation, and then to try to reset it or mitigate the situation. Wait for staff to show up, because there is a process for that as well.
Yeah. And with more than one building as well.
Yeah, multiple buildings.
Yeah.
And we also have the complication of having to call in off-duty staff to cover. So if we can just keep track of all of those things, just so we can, when we're having our conversations, we can keep bringing this up, that, yeah, it's closed, but it's still a drain on our resources.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, so next up, I've got a couple of appointments, Chief, so.
We do. Thank you. I'm very pleased to present tonight our candidate for Deputy Fire Chief. Before I do, though, I'd like to, a brief explanation on the process. We posted the job a while ago. We received multiple applications. Through that, it was narrowed down through a resume review process, and those candidates were narrowed down further to individuals that we wanted to take the assessment. The assessment was an all-day long intensive process. Those are not fun. Those are challenging, and through that process, we were pleased to determine that all candidates that participated did exceptionally well. So we had some great candidates and some great choices to go from. Three of those candidates did move on to the interview process, and again, they all did an excellent job. They all brought something forth to the table, and should be very proud of what they've accomplished, what they've done, and how they represented themselves in their communities. And I'm very appreciative of the effort and time that they put into these processes. It was very evident to me, and I'm a command staff, so I'm appreciative of that. One candidate did stand out, though, and I'm very pleased to present to the board my recommendation for appointment for Deputy Chief of Captain Donald Tebow. Don has 30 years' experience of pre-hospital ALS care. He comes to us with 25 years of experience as an educator and 23 years' experience as in the fire service, rising through the ranks from firefighter to lieutenant to captain and shift commander. And he holds multiple fire-related certifications as a graduate of the Massachusetts Fire Chief Officer class. He's attended multiple classes through National Fire Academy. Has a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. He's currently serving as the interim director of the Massasoit Paramedic Program, and his combination of leadership, education, experience, all combined to make Donald Tebow an excellent fit for a deputy fire chief position. With that being said, I'd like to invite Don up to the podium to expand upon my introduction and answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you. Good evening, Don. Good to see you again. Welcome.
Thank you.
Maybe you could just spend a moment telling us and the people who are here and watching a little about yourself and why Walpole and all that.
The chief did a great job of introducing me, and as he said, I've got more than 30 years of pre-hospital advanced life support experience. I worked as a call volunteer firefighter and a call paramedic in the 1989 through 1994. So I worked in the city of Weymouth as a paramedic before I got appointed to Mansfield in 2001. Since I've been with Mansfield, I was appointed as a lieutenant in 2005, where I went into the Fire Prevention Division. I was responsible for single-family, two-family, as well as multifamily commercial plan reviews and inspections. I'm the fire alarm coordinator there, so I oversee the municipal fire alarm system. In 2014, I was promoted to captain. In 2016, I came back onto the line, where I've been the shift commander for Group 3 since then, where I oversee all the daily activities for the shift. I run the shift of 9 if we're full. We have 2 stations that we run out of with 4 pieces of apparatus. I'm originally from Rehoboth. I live in Attleboro currently. So, I am the interim program director for Massasoit Community College's paramedic program, where I also do work as an adjunct faculty primarily. So I love being a paramedic. That was one of the things I missed the most about coming off the line, off the rescue, was I was going to get promoted. I wasn't going to be on the rescue anymore. So I still, my guys will tell you that I'll sit in the tech seat every once in a while and help out, do as much as I can to help out, but I also have the responsibility of overseeing everything. So I'm excited. Walpole's always been a great community to look at, and this was a great opportunity for me to take what I know as an educator and an experienced provider and work with your newer staff members of the fire department and really get them the experience through training that they can benefit from, that the residents will benefit from.
Well, we're very pleased to have you joining us, and so congratulations on having made your way through the process. As the chief said, it was a very rigorous process, and some of us were involved with it in the later stages as we got to know you a little bit. I will say, Chief, you said it well. We had some wonderful finalists, not the least of which was our very own Abramowitz here, who was a finalist, and I have to say it's nice to see that we've got the talent in-house and all that. All that said, Don, you did stand out, and part of what I saw in your resume is that Massasoit connection and the currency of your knowledge around paramedics and EMS and so forth, and the fact you've even worked with some of the people that are here in our department today.
I passed one of our graduates earlier.
Yeah. So that's interesting. So really excited to have you join the group. So congratulations, and let me just open it up to the rest of the board for questions or comments.
I'm excited to have you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I would just say I enjoyed reading your resume, and I heard great things from Jim and Glenn, so look forward to having you in the department.
Thank you very much, sir.
Congratulations as well, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Sounds like you're going to be a tremendous asset to the department and helping lead all our firefighters in the trainings. That's just wonderful to hear.
Thank you.
Okay, could I have a motion, please?
Sure. Motion to appoint Donald Tebow to the position of Deputy Fire Chief, subject to satisfactory completion of background checks, physicals, and the firefighter fitness ability tests.
Second?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
500. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Welcome.
Little different from the other 2 candidates that are coming up. I'd like to ask his wife to come on up and present the badge to
Perfect.
Yeah, of course.
Deputy Tebow.
Okay, Chief, back to you.
Next before the board is to fill a position of permanent firefighter. I'd like to introduce Craig Kugis. He's currently working for a private ambulance company, has a few years' experience as an EMT, and is attending the paramedic school, working towards obtaining his paramedic certification. As a Walpole High graduate and as a resident of the town of Walpole. With that, I'd like to invite Craig up to expand upon my brief explanation of him.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Craig. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Just want to take a second and say I appreciate you guys giving me this opportunity to come up here and speak to you all. My name is Craig Kugis, 26 years old, lifelong resident of Walpole. Definitely a town I've been happy to be born and raised in, and I've spent most of my time. Like the chief said, I was a Walpole High graduate. I graduated in 2016, went on to Bridgewater State University where I got a degree in exercise science and a minor in nutrition. During that time while I was in college, I got my EMT. Got it in December of 2019, and then got my first job with Brewster Ambulance in 2020 of January. And once I got my EMT, I knew right away that I wanted to get my paramedic and then work towards a fire job, specifically in Walpole, seeing how I've been born and raised here and I love this town. I've always wanted to work for the community and support the community. And like I said, I really appreciate the opportunity of having me come out here, and if you have any questions for me, let me know.
Well, it's always nice to have one of our own join the force, and certainly that is you. And you have a wonderful resume and a strong track record, and we're excited to have you join, so congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Let
Appreciate
me
it.
open it up to the rest of the board for comments. Anyone?
Congratulations, Craig.
Congratulations, yeah.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, could I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to appoint Craig Kugoulis to the position of firefighter, subject to satisfactory completion of background checks, physicals, and the firefighter physical ability test.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
The next candidate I'd like to bring up is to fill a vacancy we have as a provisional firefighter, Jenna Malone. She's currently working for a private ambulance company and is working towards acceptance into a paramedic program. She is also a graduate of Walpole High School and currently lives in town as well. Jenna.
Good evening, Jenna, and welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm Jenna Malone, grew up here in Walpole. I graduated in 2020. I just graduated from Merrimack College this past May. I studied criminology and criminal justice with a minor in psychology. I've always had my eye on having a public safety job, and no better place to look into it than Walpole, where I'm born and raised. I played hockey here in Walpole, and then I continued to play throughout college, and I'm just excited to be here.
Well, and we're excited to have you. And as I just said to Craig, it's, again, nice to have one of our own being brought onto the force in this position. So thanks very much for that, and congratulations. Open up to the board.
Thank you for choosing Walpole. Congratulations.
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 Congratulations, Jenna.
And I'll take a motion, please.
I'll make a motion to appoint Jenna Malone to the position of provisional firefighter, subject to satisfactory completion of background checks, physicals, and the firefighter physical ability tests.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Jenna,
you.
congratulations.
Our remaining candidate had a family emergency and we'll have to reschedule. We're comfortable with that and we wish him well and his family well. Other than that, that's all I have for the evening.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Chief. Any other questions for the chief?
Nope.
Okay, we're all set.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Very
Thank
much.
you.
Appreciate it. Okay, right on 7:35, time for open forum. Is there anyone here who would like to speak at open forum? Doesn't appear that there is, so we will continue moving on to new business. So I think we have Melissa Ranieri here, our health director, to talk to us about the Health Excellence Grant Amendment intermunicipal agreement. So let's just wait 1 second for the crowd to head out here.
I won't take offense to it. It's fine.
No, I wouldn't. I won't either.
Make sure that people can hear you. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, Brian.
Hey, would you just close the door? Thank you.
Okay.
Good evening, Melissa Ranieri, Health Director for the town. So I'm here, I was here back in 2021 for an intermunicipal agreement with our NC8 organization. So there's been a slight change. This is related to the Public Health Excellence Grant which was given to us from the state. We were one of the applicants, NC8, which is comprised of 8 communities, and we were awarded the grant. There's been a little change and more money's been awarded to us, so we're able to expand on what we currently do with the services, and in this case, we'd be able to hire a regional public health nurse. So from the start of the funding, we were able to hire a regional inspector. We were recently able to hire a regional epidemiologist. We were able to get software, inspectional services software, which is in hopes to standardize the whole process throughout the 351 cities and towns. Obviously, the makeup of each city and town is different. We have 4 full-time staff. If you talk about the cities, they have divisions, they have 20+ employees. So standardization is key, obviously. On the heels of COVID, I feel like public health was really in the spotlight, which was somewhat of a good thing because I think a lot of people didn't know what public health was. So we were able to get additional funding, which is great. So this funding that we currently have now, it's approximately $534,000 each year, and we just signed on for a 3-year contract. So we're guaranteed this funding until 2027 with the potential to actually extend until 2030. So it's hopeful. I think this is a great thing. And again, it's not to take the place of what we currently do, but rather expand on what we do. And ultimately, like we said, we're an office of 4, so we do great work in our office, but I think there's so much more that can be done. And by having this public health, regional public health nurse, I think it will expand on what we currently do, which is exciting and awesome.
Great, well, thank you for that update, and I agree that you do great work, and we appreciate you coming here tonight. So I don't have any questions about the amended agreement or anything like that. Does anybody else on the board have any questions or comments for Melissa?
Can you just clarify regional, so it's shared amongst the 7 communities?
So it's kind of funny. So it's NC8, which is 8 communities, but with this PHE grant, Needham is not a part of it, so it's considered 7 communities, and so we share it with the 7 communities. So we do a lot of work with NC8, which is Canton, Dedham, Milton, Norwood, Westwood, Wellesley, Needham, and then obviously Walpole. So we do a lot of collaborating, which is really great because we're all doing great work and we all help each other out. And obviously certain circumstances maybe I haven't gone through, but other local departments have. So rather than recreating the wheel, so in this case, we've worked with NC8 with emergency preparedness for quite some time, food safety and everything like that. But with the PHE grant, the Public Health Excellent Grant, it's only the 7 communities because it's based off of shared services and those regions. So Needham, which is part of NC8, is part of another shared service agreement. So they are still a part of it, but in a different capacity, not under NC8. So this funding is shared with 7 communities.
Yeah.
So obviously, initially, it's a little interesting to try to get a groove going where if you have these hired individuals, how is it shared? How is everyone getting a piece of the pie?
Yeah.
So it's something that we've definitely worked with our consultant over the last 2 years. Still a work in progress. The challenging part now is ultimately other shared service agreements are also looking to fill these positions, as well as you have your local health departments. So you're not trying to steal public health nurses, epidemiologists, regional inspectional services from local levels, but you have to make it enticing to fill these positions on a regional level.
Yeah.
So
Well, that'd be great for
Yeah.
you. Congratulations.
thank you.
Other questions for Melissa?
Well, I would just say thank you. I mean, anytime a department, the public health, is getting a grant, it's a lot of work going into it. It's a lot of coordination, and you guys are doing great work. So this is wonderful to hear, something that's going to be for the next 3 years that has a really positive impact on the public health department.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sally. Anyone else?
Looks like a great program.
Thank you.
Thank you. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion to sign the DPH Public Health Excellence Grant Amended Intermunicipal Agreement.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0-0.
Jim, I just
Thank you
have
very
one
much.
thing to add. Melissa's not going to say it, but I'm going to come out and toot her horn. She's been doing some great work in the Board of Health. She just told me on Thursday she was awarded a grant for $125,000 for 5 years
Each
with
year for
likely a
5
5-year option. So that's a considerable amount of money.
That's great.
She's going to be able to bring in a staff person. You want to talk a little bit about
Yeah, sure, I'd love
that?
to, actually. So it's the Drug-Free Community Grant, which I'm sure some of you have been aware of. So we've never applied before. It's a very competitive grant. I won't take all the credit by no means. We have a great community, worked very closely with the schools, the police, fire department, interested parents and individuals. And what it is it's to $125,000 for 5 years each year with the possibility to extend another 5 years. So what we would do is we would hire a full-time youth substance prevention coordinator. So right now, the Coalition for Alcohol and Drug Awareness has kind of been under the health department, along with a lot of other things that we do. So I feel like this will give the attention needed for this great initiative. And then ultimately, the individual will work with the Norfolk County DA's office. They'll work with police. They'll work with fire. They'll work with the schools. So it's a great thing. There were 7 awarded in the Commonwealth, and we were one of the 7. Some were for the additional 5 years, but we were the initial. So it's really exciting. It was a lot of work. It was about a year and a half of just revamping the coalition, the Walpole Prevention Coalition, reaching out to community partners. We have a great community, faith-based individuals, just a lot of people coming to the table and making the process a lot easier. We went in thinking we potentially weren't going to get the grant, but obviously did all the footwork, and then if we weren't going to be awarded, we would definitely have reapplied this coming year. But it's exciting, yeah.
It's a great opportunity for the town. It covers salaries and benefits. When she went over it with me this past week, it was like, this is too good to be true. So, hey, no, it's just some great work, and I'm glad we're able to take advantage of it. So.
Outstanding, just outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you all for your support.
Could you say the title of that position?
So it's Drug-Free Community Grant, and that's actually through the CDC, and it would be a prevention coordinator, and it strictly horns in on that youth substance prevention work.
Okay, cool.
So
Thank
we have to work on a job description and get it on the salary schedule, but that's not going to delay us at all. So, yeah.
Yeah, and just repeat, like, amazing work. To go after these grants and to be awarded one of 7 in the state is just tremendous. And as like a parent of middle schoolers and the youth, it is so important that we continue to work with that and making sure that Walpole's a safe community and as best as we can, hopefully a drug-free community, but it is still a danger out there in our community. And it's great to hear that this will be part of the department for the next 5 years.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Melissa. Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Take care.
All right, next up, DPW Director Rick Mattson. We apparently have some extra compost, Rick.
We do.
Okay.
I hate to even ask this, but there are a couple of companies that are interested in the excess amount of compost that we have at the site. And as any of you that have been there know, we're quickly running out of space. So we need to do something with it, which is why we are requesting that you declare it as surplus. We'll try to solicit bids and/or some other method of disposing of it. But right now we have one company that's interested in it, kind of a large-scale operation. But the true value of it, I really don't know. Maybe $1 or $2 a yard. We can try to figure that out. But first and foremost, we need to declare it surplus. It'd be the 2 or 3 large windrows as you pull into the site on the left-hand side. One of them I know has been there at least 20 years.
Oh, I was going to ask that.
And we're quickly running out of space. And to the benefit of the town, it's very heavily used, as any of you who've been there know. So we just need the space.
There's a massive amount of compost down there. Good looking stuff too, I have to say. Any questions for Rick? Okay, motion please.
Make a motion to approve the request to declare approximately 300 yards of excess compost material as surplus.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Good night. Okay, we have a request from 1A Auto Sales LLC to update their Class 2 license to allow 24 cars to be parked at 1449 Main Street. If I assume all the paperwork is in order here?
Yes, the owner appeared before the zoning board last week to update the conditions on the special permit that they had originally received, and they approved the increase from 16 to 24. So as the licensing board, we just need to make sure that that is changed on his current license.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Mark?
I'll make a motion to approve the request of 1A Auto Sales LLC to update their Class 2 license to allow 24 cars to be parked at the property.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. All right, next up, vote to sign the fall town meeting warrant, and I think we're going to talk about some of the articles too. So Jim, let me turn it to you for a second.
Sure. So what you have in front of you is the fall town meeting warrant. We have 12 articles set to be considered by town meeting. In total, that's really a small amount, but we have a lot of items that we're going to address. Most importantly, the high school renovation and addition on there, which is Article 12. To date, Finance Committee has taken up Articles 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 11. They're set to consider the capital items this Thursday along with the high school. So I recommend, as you can see, the votes are in front of you. Article 2 updates the personnel bylaws, which your board voted favorable action to push this forward and advance it back in May. Article 3 is the FY25 budget adjustments. It's going to allow us to address some issues within the school department, about $450,000 there. $70,000 in the police department personnel line, $70,000 in the fire personnel line, $25,000 in the building maintenance line. As most of you know, Don Anderson's retiring, and we're trying to plan for his replacement, some overlap time there. $70,980 for the reserve fund. And then, of course, the in-year the free cash articles, free cash items for McKinney-Vento, Medicaid reimbursement, and student parking fees, which will go directly to the school budget. It's more or less a pass-through. Moving on, we got the DPW contract, which your board voted to ratify a few months ago. $1,110,000 to the OPEB, $500,000 into the regular stabilization account, $850 into capital stabilization, $450 into the facilities capital stabilization, and finally $131,237 into the opioid settlement funds, which were closed out to free cash this past year, and they need to be reappropriated. I'll take any questions you may have. And Finance Committee voted favorable action on all of these items.
So let's do this. Let's first vote to sign the town meeting warrant, then we'll go one by one through the articles and vote, and we can take the questions as they come up, if there are any.
Okay.
So, Mark,
I'll make a motion to sign the fall town meeting warrant.
Second?
all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Okay, Article 2, any questions on the personal bylaws Jim just took us through? Mark?
I'll make a motion for favorable action on Article 2, salary survey and amendments to personnel bylaws.
Second?
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Article 3, any questions on that one? Mark?
I'll make a motion for favorable action on Article 3, fiscal year 25, budget adjustments.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Article 4, any questions?
I'll make a motion for favorable action on Article 4, DPW contract.
Second?
All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
5-0. Article 5, OPEB, any questions on that?
I'll make a motion for favorable action on Article 5, OPEB.
Second?
I would just comment that 1,110,000 going to OPEB is a good number, and it's consistent with our commitment to continue to work on that liabilities. This is very good. Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0-0. Article 6. Any questions?
I'll make a motion to recommend favorable action on Article 6, stabilization fund.
Second.
Similarly, on this one, it's good to see us putting this money into stabilization. Jim, we try to stay around 10% of the operating budget in stabilization. I assume this is going to keep us right around that 10% mark.
Yes, we have a market value cash balance of $11,978,000 as of July, so this will continue to allow us. Our budget's about $120 million and change, so yeah.
So again, we're staying nicely in line with where we want to be in stabilization. And, you know, not to beat a dead horse here, but that AAA bond rating, when we get evaluated, they look at things like stabilization, OPEB, the things we're doing, so this is important. Okay, motion and second. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. 5-0. Article 7, capital stabilization.
I'll make a motion to recommend favorable action on Article 7, capital stabilization fund.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Article 8. Mark?
I'll make a motion for favorable action on Article 8, facilities capital stabilization fund.
Second.
I know we went through this kind of quickly, Jim, but this is a new one for us, facilities capital stabilization.
Sure.
And maybe just a few more words
So
on what we're
with
doing
this
there.
one, it's basically looking to establish another stabilization account. The purpose of this account will be solely for the facilities here in town, And my initial focus on this one is the Johnson Middle School. As you all know, we signed a 10-year lease with multiple 5-year options back in the spring on this property. We're now landlords there. We're responsible for boilers if they break down, windows, roof, major repairs. This will allow us to establish some funds in there. So if and when that day comes, the boiler breaks, we have some funds set aside that we're able to address it.
Great. Okay, questions for Jim?
So not a regular or annual allocation, or?
I expect that this will
To be determined.
be probably an annual amount to be set aside as part of the presentation that I laid out for the school committee and the select board. We said about $400,000 will be set aside, $437 I think it was. Some of that we're responsible for the utilities, but we're also responsible for snow plowing, any other capital improvements. So a portion of that money of the 400 will likely in the future continue to go there, and the rest of it will be split 66-34.
Got it.
Okay. I've lost track. Mark, have you done the motion yet?
I did the motion, we haven't voted yet, though.
All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0. Article 11.
I'll make a motion to recommend favorable action on Article 11, opioid settlement funds.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. 5-0-0.
Thank you. So I'll come back next week with at your next meeting with the other few remaining articles.
Thank you, Jim. On to the consent agenda. Mark?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent items as listed on the September 10th agenda, except for the public rosary request, as an alternative date needs to be provided.
Second.
And the reason for that is a conflict with the parade date, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
5-0-0. The minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of August 20th, 2024 as presented.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. 5-0. Jim, Town Administrator's Report.
Sure, just a few items here. High school project, the GC bids came in at the end of August. Pleased to report that they came in favorably. We're under budget. The bids are going to allow us to continue to have an 11.65 contingency amount, which is just over $3 million for this project. Permanent Building Committee met earlier this evening. They were really pleased with the bid results. We're going to be able to do all 6 priorities identified by the school department, school committee, and the 3 alternates. And we're going to continue to work towards that. So I actually asked Aoife to make sure that we post a meeting on October 22nd, the day after town meeting, so the select board can vote to award the contract to the low bidder, and we can get started, because the plan is to get started on the area right in front of the snack shack, the ball fields, ASAP, to begin to prep that area in November, and really go at it right after the Thanksgiving Day game to make sure that we create some parking space as they start to do some of the work on site in the spring and everything. So really pleased with that. Vertex, Tape, Patrick, Superintendent Goff, Business Manager Mike Fisher, everyone did a lot of hard work on that, along with the building committee and the school committee. So I'm really pleased with this whole situation we're dealing with right now. So fall town meeting, FinCom's wrapping up their deliberations later on this week. I expect those to be done next week at the latest, likely this week. We're working on the motions, the warrant booklet, and the packets leading up to town meeting, and capital budgets coming in with their recommendations for FinCom on Thursday night. They're also going to take a vote on the high school project that night too. I met with Chair Fosberg today. He was really pleased with the bid results for the high school. And finally, the 300th committee continued to do some great work. Parade's set to go on November 5th, that's a Saturday, and the Gala is set for November 2nd, I believe that's also a Saturday. Carl has been working really well with MassDOT to get the final permit for the closure of 1A. I think he put 3 hours on the permit, which will be probably the longest parade in a long time here in Walpole, starting from the Aggie going all the way down to the high school here. So it's going to be a fun time, and we filled out the paperwork today to get the select board in the parade, and we're working on some banners and stuff to put on the side of one of the DPW trucks that I'll be driving along with you guys, so looking forward to it. That's it.
I think you said November 5th for the parade, it's October, right?
Sorry,
Yeah.
October 5th for the
Yeah.
parade, November 2nd for the gala.
Okay.
Yeah.
A couple of things that Katie Turco asked me to touch on tonight was, first of all, October 5th being the parade, and anybody who is intending to be in the parade does need to go to the Recreation Department website and formally sign up for the parade. And that's important because of the logistics that they need to go through to make sure that don't put the trucks in front of the bands and things like that. So if you're planning on being in the parade, please make sure that you've done that so Katie and company can have a fighting chance of pulling this off. Second thing is, I think the gala, which is scheduled for November 2nd, I believe those tickets are going on sale this week. I want to say Thursday, again, through the Recreation Department website. And so anyone interested in going to the gala, go to the website, I believe, on Thursday, and those tickets will be available. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else, Jim?
No, that's all.
Okay, any questions for Jim?
Nope.
Okay, so that concludes our business in open session today. We are going to move into executive session, and we will not be coming back out. So, as chair, I hereby declare it is the board's intention to go into executive session for purpose 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or the litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. A discussion of the foregoing in open session could compromise the purpose of the executive session, with the select board not returning to open session at the conclusion of the executive session. So, Mark,
I'll make a motion that the select board will enter into executive session for the purpose as stated by the chair, with the board not returning to open session at the conclusion of the executive session.
And this needs to be a roll call vote, so motion and a second. So, Ally?
Yes.
Ben?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Glenn?
Yes.
And Jim? Yes. So we are now in executive session, and again, we won't be coming back out. So good night, everyone, and thank you for being with us.